special guest from Cyprus, Evie. Hi, Evie. How are you?
Hi everyone. Hi Ahmed. How are you? I'm good.
I'm
Uh,
doing great. So today we attend first. I will ask Evie, of course, to introduce yourself.
yeah, okay. So hi everyone. My name is Efi Filippo. I'm from Cyprus, as Ahmed already said. I'm a financial strategist and fractional CFO in Cyprus, in general in Europe. I specialize in F&B and property. And today, as Ahmed said, we're gonna discuss the F&B world as I know it from Europe and as Ahmed know it in Middle East. So it is nice to be with you today, Ahmed.
Thank you, Evie. Thank you very much. Of course, I think everybody here is knowing me, so we need to introduce. Let's jump to the topic. Uh, Today, Evie, when I was in my car in the morning, I just hear a recent report about the F&B market in Saudi Arabia, and the total sales of coffee shops and restaurants is about 1.2 trillion Saudi riyal. This is close to 300 billion US dollar. So the market is huge, and everybody, I think, want to enter the market and to have a piece of this cake. Uh, so we here in our area, generally, even in Egypt and Saudi Arabia, we have a common problem. Anybody who are willing to invest and start a new business, the first thing is come to his mind is to start business in restaurants or in coffee shop because it's a cash cow. It's easy to do. It's a cash cow. You don't have a credit customer. It looks easy, but unfortunately, 80% of this business, between 80 and 90, is closed in the first year. So I don't know. Can you يعني, give us a review about Europe? What happened in Europe?
Yeah, we're more or less the same. We have a lot of demand, especially for coffee, because the for the couple of years now, like for the past 10 years, I would say, coffee demand has grew up significantly, and people they consider coffee as an easy choice in order to open a coffee shop and also restaurants. And as we have the COVID also, more and more people went to delivery options. And now that the consumer behavior changed, they turned from the regular restaurant with seats and everything to ghosts restaurants that they are only serving people via delivery or via takeaway, let's say. So we have the same things, and we have uh, a huge demand now, especially with the ghost kitchens and the delivery for youngsters or other people that they want to shift their focus into the F&B industry to open these kind of businesses. They think it's also easy. If you haven't worked ever in the F&B industry, you might think that it is easy, but they forgot that this is yes, it's a cash cow, but you know, it's not only producing money, but it's eating money fast. So that's a huge issue that they more or less skipping. And they have great interest. You can actually open the shop at early stages with minimum capital. Let's say I have clients that they open shops with only 10,000 euro capital, but the issue was that they couldn't keep up with the excessive cash inflows and outflows. So the business went bust, as you said. So we have the same thing and the same issue in Europe. People want to open because they do believe that it is easy, but it is easier to close such a business rather than opening and operating?
Thank you, Evie. So I think we have the same issue. I think it's a common issue. It's not about our area of the world or your
Mm.
place in the world, but you will face the same problem. Uh, so this will take me to my second question, which why and how and when should I start a business in F&B?
Okay, so if you want an answer, it's not gonna be straight one.
This is a difficult question. Huh?
No, it's not gonna be an easy response, and it's
Yeah.
not gonna be a short response. So the issue that most of the times that we are facing as professionals, as you might confirm, is that the who, okay? Yes, the coffee and the food is two different industries, okay? And two
Yes.
different specializations. So first of all, either you have a specialization or either you're hiring people that they know their craft. Either they are knowing how to make a good coffee, because nowadays the consumer becomes smarter and smarter, so they know
Sure.
what they're purchasing. So you have to produce high quality stuff. It's either coffee and food. And food, it's another story. Food, it's an art, okay?
Mm.
So you have to know what you're doing. And once I was discussing with a huge client, he has like is making about 50 million per year. Uh, and he told me your chef can be your distraction or your savior. So you have to be careful who is managing the business, and you have to be also willing to be in the business at the early stages. You cannot operate a business from your
Yes.
house.
Yes.
So this is an issue. And the other thing is, do you have the funds? And do you know how much funds you're gonna need? So this is another question. And most people they're starting to make let's say a business plan, like a soft draft business plan on their own,
Yeah.
and they leave out major expenses because they haven't operated any business in its kind, and they tend to leave major expenses out. And
Yeah.
this is their distraction, because then let's say, okay, I might need 500,000 in order to open that restaurant, or even 30K. But then it's the operating capital, the working capital. It's not only the capex, the capital expenditure. The If we have to explain that, it's capital expenditures, whatever you're gonna do and try to buy things, the chairs, the equipment, everything,
And the assets. Yes.
and the assets. And then it's the working capital. And then it's a soft spot that everybody's missing, that you're gonna have waste. You're gonna have
Right.
people leaving your business. What you're
Yes.
gonna do? You have to repair it. Now you have to have repairment, whatever, and then you have to have let's say a cushion, a safety cushion there. So I hope I answer your question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think يعني you should hire a consultant in a short, yeah, and keep him. And I think it's not if he, I don't know you agree with me or not, but it's not about the initial business plan. It's
Mm,
about to watch the variances along of the year. You see which
mhm.
variances comparing with your business plan and try to find out why and recover fast.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very important thing, because restaurants, as we already said, they are cash intense business, and
Yes.
they they are mistaken. Many are mistaken, and I can understand why, because they consider that, okay, I'm selling my product, I'm getting the cash in, so I always have cash. Yes, you're not gonna be full every day. you're gonna have creditors, you're gonna have waste. And the inflation itself is growing. And also, as we discussed the other day, it's we are importing most of the things. It's the same in
Yes.
Cyprus, it's
The
the
same in
same in
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi. Yes. So if you are importing things, you have to be cautious and about everything that's happening in the world because different the raw materials they're coming from different countries, and especially with the trends that is happening into Europe, into Middle East, and you have to always be careful on the what is happening around you. So
Yes.
you cannot do everything alone. You have to do what you are best in and let others handle these fast, let's say the financial fast.
Great. Uh, so here in Saudi Arabia, the most popular sector to invest and people love it is real estate. And I think it's no surprise as well. Uh, we have here a statement in Saudi Arabia. We said العقار لابن البار. And that's mean, I think I told you this before. That means this is the real estate investment is like a good son who will take care about you when you get older. This is a statement. So if I have $1 million, for example, is it better to invest in real estate or in restaurant and coffee shop from your perspective?
So what is your appetite? So we start by this question. What is your appetite? I
Yes.
mean, it's there's not a right answer. And
Yeah.
and you always have to question yourself, okay, what am I willing to risk? Both of them are risky business, which is
Yes.
fine. But then when you want your cash, do you want them now? Do you want them later? Do you want to have a higher risk on the F&B? Yes, F&B, it's a more risky sector rather than property. Okay. But then if you want your money out, properties are not liquid assets. So
Yes. Right.
yes, there's no straight answer. It's what do you want to do with your money? And this is a question that everybody has to ask themselves. And they also have to be realistic about their needs. What do you also how much do you want to suffer, let's say? Do you want to suffer now for the rest of the 5 years until your restaurant is gonna be fine?
Zero.
So it depends. It depends.
Of course, yeah. Nobody. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with you. Uh, so if you, did you hear about Saudi Vision 2030?
of
Did
course
you
I
hear
hear
about it?
about it. It's an amazing vision, and I think you guys in Saudi, you are the most fast moving economies that I've seen. And you I have to give you the credit. At least when you say something it has to be done, you done it. So in Europe, we are more slow, as you may have seen.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
are innovating and you are doers
I
yourself.
think,
So
yeah, I think the market in Europe is more mature than here, or much mature than Saudi Arabia. Here is, and Saudi Arabia is still a growing market. There is a huge opportunities. So what I ask you from your perspective, and you have a lot of clients in Europe, is there is opportunity for European dining in restaurant in Saudi Arabia to locate to Saudi Arabia, whether they came and opened by themselves or gave up franchises?
yeah, okay. So the question,
يعني,
if I correctly
يعني assume,
uh,
yes, assume that is I'm one from your clients, and after I see this
yeah,
life, I said, Evie, you have a vision about, and you know what's happening in Saudi Arabia. So
Mm-hmm.
give me advice. Is it a good idea to come to Saudi Arabia or not?
Okay. So you really stress me to be a consultant, and I'm gonna say
Yeah.
it depends. Okay, it depends.
Yeah. This is
So
the best world in all over the world. It depends.
it depends. So
Yeah.
it's like a disclosure in everything that we say as consultants. It depends because if you want to expand, first of all, ask your question: Are you ready to expand? Do you have your financials ready to expand? Do you have your operations ready to expand? And franchise. What we mean when we say franchise. Okay. Why? So, Ahmed, why do you believe, as per your experience, people are buying franchises?
Because the value of the brand name, of course.
Okay.
Like Starbucks or Dunkin', and Starbucks is number one in all over the world. Dunkin' Donuts is number one all over the world. If we come to our work, still the big four in all around the world. So it's the power four of the name.
Yeah, this is I'm not gonna say issue, but this is something that, let's say, Cyprus or some European countries and also Saudi that they tend to trust more well-established brand names.
Yes, agree with you.
But on the, let's say, perspective of someone that wants to buy a franchise, what they have to look is you buy a franchise because they have two things. They have like a manual of their operations and their recipes. So you save a lot of time and effort in trying to build something on your own. And then rather than just take it ready and, enjoy everything that they've built in. Okay, in a premium, of course, you're gonna pay that. It's
Yes,
a
of course.
premium. Yes, but if you want to just invest in a franchise, you're gonna pay a premium, but then you're gonna save a lot of hassle from building your operations, building your recipes, build everything from scratch. But let's say on the other way, uh, whether you have a restaurant in Cyprus, in whatever European country that they have, because we're working now like the past couple of months, we were working for a project. It's a franchise from Greece, and that franchise, it was very small pastries, like it was a croissant. Okay, it's a croissant franchise, and they came from Greece to Cyprus. They wanted to expand in other markets. They were looking for London, but in order to be able to expand, first they built their own recipes, their own quality, their own financials. Even the franchise agreement, it's a pain. And you have to have consultants that they're gonna build your franchise agreement correctly, because then as long as you're giving your name, your brand's name to other markets, you're gonna expect there are gonna be changes. Let's say Cypriot market is very different from the UK market and from the Greek market. So you have to make shifts. Let's say we're not eating a certain croissant in Cyprus. You're not gonna bring it in Cyprus, but in UK, this thing might be worth like £5, £9, £6, whatever it is. So then it's the customer behavior that we are discussing before. So it is always comes to certain things. First, have your financials okay in your area and your operations in line also in your area, and then see what market fits with your product, because F&B, it's a huge
Yes, agree with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Yeah, this is what I
So
believe.
yes, and I think there is something that I learned from you, Evie, in our past meetings. You told me one time that every franchise, before you give a franchise, and if you are a standalone restaurant, for example, or a standalone one branch coffee shop, before thinking to give a franchise for anybody, you should have three pillars, right? Menu engineering or fixed menu, and the process, and the third thing is recipes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to standardize it, three of them, before thinking to expand or even to give a franchise, right? Okay.
Correctly.
Okay. Thank you for for this.
Oh, it's free. It's free. It's free.
Okay. Uh, so I one thing I need to highlight about it's it's like a trend in finance. It's about sustainability. Uh, what can you say about sustainability in F&B market in terms of strategic for cost saving and uh, looking for customer behavior change and inflation, high seasonality, the seasonality, high season and low season? How we can handle all of these issues or and lead our business to more sustainability?
So, this- my opinion is that, and I've said it before, you have to focus as a business owner to the things that you are good at in the first few years, and then distribute or delegate, let's say, some serious tasks to other people, which is going to be your core team. And as I always preaching, teamwork is the dream work. So
Yes, agree
let's
with you.
park that. On the sustainability side, and you might know very well from your huge experience, Ahmed, it's something that, and as you said before, you have to keep your records on check every time. If you are not review it, if you are not measure it, whatever it is well measured, it is well managed. And this is
Yes,
also a mode of mine. If you go to my LinkedIn, you're gonna find it. What is measured, it is well managed. And in order to be sustainable, you have to always keep it on check your business, because money, as I say, it's like prisoners. They are always trying to escape. So you always have to keep on check the prisoners, which is your money. You always have to keep on check what is happening to the outside world, to your market, and also keep in check to your vision. Where do you want to go? And these are also translating to financials, but also operationals. Because few years ago, as financial advisors, we tend to look on only on the financials. But now, because the markets are evolving and the speed of the markets, it's enormous. It's high speed. And especially with the Vision 2030, you know that the things are keep speeding and speeding, accelerating all the time. So
yes,
you have to keep your eye on everything. And it's a demanding market. So if you're not keeping your numbers and your operation on check, but you always have to keep eye on both of them because they are interconnected. It's not the financials itself, they're not telling a story. Financials and operations, they tell a story, and you have to keep a close eye on them. So this is what I'm doing
okay.
at least.
Uh, Actually, when I talk to my clients, especially in F&B, I said to them, your biggest enemy is the fixed cost, which this cost will be remaining, however the business is growing or not. Uh, uh, So I think if we, according to the books, to financial books, it's name break-even point. Uh, but to make it easier for who are listening to us and not from business finance background. So how can I set a program for cost saving which not affect uh, my product? And I need to make like cost saving, but I must ensure that not affect my product. And this is not all and only about salaries or or the ingredients itself, the quality of ingredients. Something like marketing. Yeah, for I one time I meet a client and I ask him how much you spend as a percentage from your revenue in marketing. And what I am realized that he have two separate marketing teams. One team is working on awareness and social media posting. This is daily. And the other team is working on campaigns, market campaigns. Each one of these teams spending 10% of revenue. So together 20%, which is very high. And the funny thing, he didn't realize that he spent 20% only on marketing.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, and he said that actually the market here there is a heavy competition in especially in coffee shop actually. In Saudi Arabia, because it's Islamic countries, it's not allowed to open like pub or bars. So the only drinks here which allowed it's coffee shop and juices, and we called it halal drinks. So coffee shop is number one. It's like bars and pub in Europe. It's not like coffee shops is not the same concept like in Europe. So the competition is very tough, and there is a lot of local brands which even compete Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. Actually, we have a very good brands, and in restaurant as well. Yani, for example, El Bake is number two of spending in Saudi Arabia. It's fried chicken, local fried chicken Saudi Arabia. So how can I make a cost saving program without effect or my product and effect in my customer and keep compete in the market in the same time? Difficult
Mm.
question, right?
Tell me about it. But
Yeah,
you always have to question who is your customer.
yeah.
And if you ask yourself as a business owner, you have to always find your your client avatars. When you find your client avatars, then you will be able to price your product based on your target market. And this is something you have to always consider the revenue side and the cost side differently. And then when you see your your client avatars, you will understand, let's say, maybe it's only drive-through or people that they're workers that they're rushing their way into your drive-through or just getting a coffee to go to work. So what is their salary? Or you are located in a central district with business offices, and then your product price is gonna change. It's gonna be increased, but your costs are gonna be increased too. So first know your customer avatar, and then look up at your expenses. Some fixed costs, they're fixed costs, yes, but if by renting a certain shop in a certain area doesn't cover and it doesn't cover your revenues, your cost, it's above your revenues, then maybe you don't have to open that business in that area.
But should I watch this report or revenue versus cost daily or weekly or monthly? What is the best practice?
So for me, it's a weekly thing to look up. The daily, what you gonna do? Are you all day gonna look at your financials? No, it's a weekly thing, but you have to keep on check on weekly reports and to always keep an eye on them. And especially in the early days, then it's daily. Yes, on the early days, until your business has a momentum in starting to go up, then yes, it's daily. But then when you get the momentum and you go up, then you have to be weekly and then 2 weeks. But especially for the F&B, I wouldn't advise more than 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's a cash intense business. I mean, what you gonna do?
But also you need يعني for following daily or weekly, I think you need a high level of automation, high level of right with digital transformation, so you can receive the right information on the right time. It's not about the information itself, and if you get the information late, then you can't correct the past, right? You only be able to correct the present and the future.
You're 100% right, Ahmed. Because it's the quality of the data you're going to see. And you might saw, and I might saw that when you are entering into a company, the first thing you are asking is, okay, where is the source of your data? In order to check if the data is correct, because if you don't have correct data, then you're not taking the correct decisions. And then in a week's or 2 weeks time, especially if you are in the F&B industry, you're gonna go bust. And this is
Yes,
an issue.
yes, a big issue. And I think you will not be able to take the right information on the right time if you don't have like integration between your system, between your BOS and your system. And you should have like owner dashboard, yani only which you have to watch only 3 or 5 indicators only. Yani don't be concentrate, don't waste your time, and uh, pick just 3 or 5. And this is my advice to my clients actually. Yani don't watch everything, you will be miss. Uh, Evie, I think is right from my opinion. If you want to apply a cost saving program or cost saving system in your business, uh, you have to start from inventory, from the cost of inventory. And I think it's a common problem in most of the clients. Nobody watch really for the inventory in the perspective of the cost, how to reach to the cost of inventory. So what happened in Europe? Do you have the same issue when you're
What's
applying a
happening here?
cost?
What's happening to Europe? Europe is happening a lot of things. First of all,
Yes, I'm interesting
um,
to know really.
yes, okay. So Europe, look, our main issue, also our main issue is the inventory because they don't. The mentality was not now. The mentality was they were getting a huge credit from their creditors and they were keeping stock, a lot of stock.
Yes,
Then they forgot though that the stock is money tied up in products.
yes, yes,
So you're gonna have a cash flow issue. Then it changed because especially with the crisis that we had, and in Cyprus we had also a haircut like on the deposit of a specific bank in 2013. So back then we had a huge issue with cash flow. The business had a huge issue with cash flow, and that teach them that you always have to see what are your sales. So what are your sales for the past few weeks? What are your sales? Then this is gonna be your stock. Don't just stock things up and just expect to sell them.
yeah,
And that was changed throughout the years. We also had this issue. And the other issue that we had, it was we actually forced to manage the stock in that way because of the inflation, because of the war in Ukraine with
mm,
Russia. We
yes,
were forced to lower our stock supplies because the prices went up.
yes,
So then we did an entirely different management of the stock. We kept only the necessary as per our sales, but we were forced to do that.
Yes.
But okay, every crisis is teaching you something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's happening now again because the coffee prices is coming up during the last months around the world. Uh, so you just mentioned cash, يعني, and I as remember if you all the time mention to the cash at the lifeblood of the business, and I'm saying cash is the king. So what is the role of cash and cash management in the F&B business?
Okay, so I always ask them a question. How you will feel if you now open your bank account and you have zero cash? And the answer is always the same. I will die. I will feel very pressured. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And this is the answer to everything. If you don't have cash, you cannot operate. And you cannot even imagine how fast in F&B your cash is flying away. Because yes, you're selling stuff, but you're buying stuff to sell. So this is a correlation. You're selling your food, yes, but you have to buy raw materials. So in the same time, if you don't have enough margin, then what is happening with your cash? And that margin is also your stock. So
Yes,
it goes smaller. So what you gonna do if you're not keeping eye on your cash? Your business is gonna close. Like with statistically speaking, you're not gonna, go for a long time of period.
yeah. I think it's the missing part of everybody, and most of the people, the missing part is the inventory, just your stock. People are not considering stock as a money. They're
Yeah.
looking at it's not a goods, it's a money. And it affect your cash flow cycle. This is the issue. Uh, so coming with that, if I'm a business owner and I decide to go to the bank and to raise a fund, uh, what is the right time يعني, to raise a fund, and how can I guarantee that I will pay to the bank on time? And should I ask a consultant before I doing that? Especially if I have expansion plans. So I will go to the bank and take also for the capex, not to the opex on itself. What's your experiences with your customers?
So a few years ago, because I was also working for a long, so my experience also includes non-performing loans, receiverships, and liquidation. So on the early years of my career, I've seen the other side of the business that go bust. So I've learned a lot what it takes for a business to go bust. And now I'm doing everything that I can do for business to flourish and not go to the other side. I call that other side the cemetery of businesses. So this is my goal in life, after not to get businesses, just to grow the business. That's it, because I've seen the ugly side of business closing down and go bankrupt. Um, and few years ago, I've seen people that they were first go to the bank, ask for, let's say, 100K, and the bank tell them, okay, what is the plan? Where is the business plan? And then they were coming back to me to ask me, what is it? Can we do a business plan? Whatever. I was back then in Ireland. And now it's the other way around. People are coming to consultants because they need to feel safe for their funds and then do uh, that investment. And this is what it has to be. You at least have someone to check your numbers, because we as consultants see all the businesses, those that they went past, and we help businesses to grow. So we know every step of the way how things can turn good or bad. So my opinion is that you always have to have a second person with you, and not go alone in that journey, especially that cash intensive journey. And I'm keep
Okay.
telling about cash
Uh,
intensity, but especially for F&B, it's something that we need to keep in mind.
yes, very important actually. Uh, when I go to the client, if a client يعني asking to meet me, I'm knowing that he have issue in cash flow, and I tell him, and he told me, why you said that? I tell you why. You know, the cash flow is like you have pain in your tooth. Okay, in the first day, you take like a normal painkiller. Second day, you say you take something stronger, and the third day, you will start thinking to have appointment with your dental. The third day. So when you reach to your dental, you already have a heavily pain. يعني. And in F&B, if somebody or the clients want to hire you as a consultant, just make sure that he have a heavy uh, issue in the cash flow, unfortunately. So if I want to ask you, what other option uh, the business owner have beside go to the bank and they get loans? Yani, to get a private fund or go to angel investor or have a partner, what other option? And how this affects the WACC calculation in very simple words. I know it's complicated, but and try to explain to us how this will affect the WACC.
Okay, so first we go to the bank. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be as fast as possible. First
yeah,
is the bank. What is the interest rate? Simple as
yeah.
that. Do you have a property to put in collateral? Yes or no? Do you want this property to be locked into the law? Yes or
Okay,
no?
yeah,
So imagine for
very
the
simple.
rest of the, yeah, very
Yeah.
simple. For the rest of the 30
But
years,
why,
you will have,
but why you start with banks? Why is banks is better than equity?
no, it's not that better. I mean,
It's not better.
no. Nothing is better than anything. It's just
Okay,
your appetite. I mean, I'm stating the facts, and then you have to choose your appetite. Then we go to, let's say, private equity. It's maybe it's an angel investor. Maybe I'm not gonna speak about VC funds because it's another world. I'm gonna stick to the angel investor. So the angel investors is somebody that is gonna believe in your vision and believe in you and your capabilities, and it's gonna assist you along the way, but it's not gonna be there at the kitchen or at the coffee shop. But they're gonna need their money, let's say in 5 years' time. So they
yes.
will expect that you're gonna produce this money in 5 years' time. Are you able to do this? Yes or no? Do you want to feel that pressure that you have to give this money back and then produce him or her some returns? That's another story. And then we go to partnership. Remember, family. Maybe it's a good idea to go with your family members in a business. There's gonna be a lot of conflict. Friends, there's gonna be a lot of conflict. Maybe you're good in going around for coffee and for leisure, but in business, it's gonna be a lot of problems. Do you
Another
want
thing,
this?
yes.
Yeah. So you have to look up your choices. Our calculations are gonna be affected
I
either
think
way.
I think you forget the third F,
What I
which is
forget.
we have, you mentioned just two F, friends, family, and the third is fools, which will give you money. which he will trust
Indeed.
you for nothing and give you money. So this is the 3F.
Get the fools.
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah.
fools.
Yeah. Search for them.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, you're right. You're right. Okay, so I hope I was short. My
Yes.
answer was short. I think so.
But I think it's short, but this require a heavy study. And you need somebody to understand your appetite and your capabilities and what's your business plan for 5 years. And this will take me to my last question, maybe, or no, I have another one. Uh, Now the role of FP&A or financial planning and analysis is growing on the business. And I hear Apple just hired the CFO, the Apple new CFO. He was the FP&A manager or director inside Apple. Then they appoint him to be a CFO. So what's the role of FP&A inside FP business?
So
What can
FP&A,
FP&A? Yeah.
FP&A, because the previous work before I started my own business, I was an FP&A on one
Oh,
of the,
nice. This,
yes, on
this is
one
the
of the
first time
biggest,
I hear about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was an FP&A, the head of FP&A of one of the biggest group of companies in Cyprus. It was an F&B. They had also solar and properties and everything else, but I was mainly focused on the F&B. The other things was pretty steady. Um, and my role and each FP&A role is to actually present and analyze the data. So those people, they're gonna get all the data, get them, and have the summary of what happened, what is currently now, and if you want to go to the X point, what you have to do to get to the X point or Y point or Z point. So it's very important for F&B businesses because it's a fast-moving industry to have someone to analyze those data and be able to guide them along the way. And they will FP&A is also they're seeing through the changes. So because they're keeping an eye on your data and analyze those data, they're keeping track on those changes, and then they say, okay, these changes happen because of that reason, and we have to do the X amendment now or in 3 months time in order to be able to reach our target or not to have an issue with our cash flow. So this is FP&A. It plays a huge role in F&B industry.
Yeah, I agree with you. So if I go to your LinkedIn page, Evie, I will realize that you write you are working as a fractional CFO. So
Yeah.
can you explain what fractional CFO doing and what it takes to be a fractional CFO? What skills, what kind of experiences and learning should I have to be a fractional CFO?
Fractional CFO. Fractional CFO, if you remove the fractional, it's a CFO.
Yeah, at the end of the
And
day, CFO.
it's CFO. It's
Yeah.
just businesses that it's there are so many businesses that they're in their growing stage or they're cash intense businesses. And these two categories of business, they need a fractional CFO. They don't need a full-time CFO because first, the cost of having a full-time CFO, it's very huge, and it might be not the time to carry such big uh, fixed
What?
cost. Yes. So you can have an expert there watching your financials and your operations. So this is what a fractionals do. They do whatever a CFO do, but for a fraction of the time. It depends on what stage you are. So you always have an expert in your team, but you don't have to pay that full cost of a CFO. And they do more or less the same job. And what skills they need to have, the financial skills, the core financial skills, the analytical skills, but also to be able to have a business acumen. And what is a business acumen? Is that ability to see also the business side of things, the operation side of things, and be able, it's another businessman, but with the higher financial skills, let's say.
Mm.
So if I have to explain what a fractional CFO is. And businesses, and I'm gonna tell you again, cash intense and growing business, they need. And startups, what I've seen is that startups, they're big because startups, by fact, they don't have money, okay? So they're raising money all over the place.
Mm.
But because they don't know how to manage the
Yeah.
funds, except if they have a financial person in their startup team, they don't know how to manage that. And you might throw cash into the dustbin because you didn't have anyone watching your
Oh.
steps. And especially in Ireland, that I'm also working there for some projects, investors now, they are looking for a fractional CFO to be in the team before investing to those companies. So
Mm.
this is
The
another
VCs
thing.
itself. Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. This is good news for us, maybe it's because in Wasla we are providing the same service as a fractional CFO. We are the first in Saudi Arabia actually. Uh,
Okay.
okay. Will be my last question, yani, for my side. And if everybody is participating with us, please, if you have any question, just write it in the chat box, and I will ask Avi about it. For the financial professionals who work in, let me say this story first. When I start to meet with you, Avi, we together realize that we speak the same language. It's not about English, no, the same business language. And when we look to our background, and it was strange how somebody from Europe like you speaks the same business language for somebody from Egypt and live in Saudi Arabia like me. But if we look to our background, you are ECCA and I have CIMA and CBA Ireland as well. So we come from the same learning background. And maybe this is the reason. Uh, so I need you to highlight uh, the importance of the certificate, of the professional certificate, like ECCA, CBA, CMA. And because here people is thinking, some people thinking that experiences is enough. You don't need a certificate. So if you are a financial professional and working in F&B business, do you need to take, beside your experiences, do you need to take a certificate like ECCA or CMA or SIMA, in your opinion?
So today I was actually in a call with ACCA before having this call. I was in a call with ACCA because we were trying to build a community in Cyprus and to be able to communicate with other ACCA members in all over the state, in Europe mainly. And the discussion was people that they have the ACCA, let's say, or a professional, whatever certificate, they are learning specific skills that it enables them to have a different perspective rather just having the experience. The experience is gonna 100%, I totally agree with you. Experience, it's the most important thing that you're gonna have because then you are just an academic. We totally agree on that. But those professional certificates, they are offering you a different perspective. They are offering you the continuous development. They are offering you different stuff for you to be up to date with the current trends because they're changing so much. It's a fast changing market. So they're equip you with all these skills that you need to have in order to be able to give the best service. And experience itself is not going to give you if you're focused on one, two, three, 10 businesses at the same time, yes, it's gonna give you a huge experience, but then it's not
Right.
enough. maybe you're missing things from other industries. Maybe you're missing things from technology. But those stuff, they're equipping you with this stuff, especially for technology. They're providing you these resources for you to be updated as a professional and be able to give the best service to those around you, to your clients, because you have a moral obligation to your clients to give them the best service. As what is the goal of a professional, let's say a financial professional? Our goal is to build sustainable economies. We, each and every one of us, has a fault. We have, if we make mistakes, if we don't treat the business as we should treat them, we have to build sustainable economies, and we are one of the people that is driving that. So this is my opinion.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think in addition, I think those certificate shape your mindset. They give you the direction to think according to the pros and cons, advantage and disadvantage. Tell you how to have strategic long-term mindset. So I encourage everybody to take at least one certificate, at least. So I have here, I'm done from myself. Sorry, I ask a lot of question, I know. So I have one question from Amr, and the same, I think, question is from Magid Ali. It's about recipes. What is the importance of recipes and how we make balance between recipes and the cost? Uh,
How we're making balance between the recipes and the cost.
yes,
So I think that when we go to whatever we are building a menu, it's three of us are sitting in the same space. The chef, which is the head, always respect the chef. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Then
sure.
it's the CFO, financial advisor, fractional CFO, name it, or the FP&A. And then it's the restaurant owner if it is not the chef. And then together, the restaurant owner, manager, whatever, and we ask, we're seeing like the demand. What is the demand in the menu? If you have to list, let's say, the plate number one, it has this demand. The plate number two has this demand. So we see the demand. And then based on the demand, we see what are the ingredients. And the ingredients that you're using, in Europe, we learned that in the hard way in Europe, especially as I told you with the Ukraine war, the seasonalities, because the raw materials, the ingredients that you're using, they have seasonalities. So the cost goes up and down, and then you have to play with
Mm,
the cost, the raw material seasonality, and then with the demand. And then you have to make these two work together in order to serve your clients and your costs. And I hope I answered some of the questions. There's some other engineering in the menu, but you know, I will keep it simple.
I think it's linked together, the menu, prices, and the ingredients. In my opinion, ingredients is 80% of everything. The quality of ingredients. Really, I saw the. So whatever you're doing, if you have a bad quality ingredients, that will lead you to a bad taste. And besides the chef, but I think ingredients is more important. And
Yeah,
to
well,
have,
in restaurants there are three things. It's the customer service,
yeah,
is the quality of your food, and
yes,
how your brand or
yeah,
restaurant is looking. So those
yes,
three things. But if you don't have customer service and if you don't have a good quality of food, then
yes. So let's call it experiences, the customer
yeah,
experiences itself. Okay. So I think we have one last question because it's already 1 hour and half and 5 minutes. It's about the offers and the sale. How we can make price offer, especially if you have like a new competitor which enters the market with a low price. So you have to lower your price. How you can make balance between the quantity and the price?
So again, so is it really your competitor? It's yes or no. If it is your competitor and can actually lower his or her prices and it's a threat to you, you have to find out how he or she is doing that. And there are a lot of studies, and I'm saying that to my clients, study your competition. If your competition is one step ahead, you have an issue. And then look what he's doing. Maybe he's using or she's using some ingredients cheaper than you. Maybe his
Mm,
quantity, not quality, quantity is less. Some grams, not something significant. So just test them, test their product, just order for them to see what they're doing. Because we have in Europe now, in Cyprus especially, and some other nearby countries, we have a trend in Asia, like no, Hawaiian, I think, it's poke salad, where do you have the sushi rice, the salmon, tuna, whatever it is. And we have two specific restaurants in the town where they are offering poke. The first one had top-notch quality of product,
mm,
and their prices were huge. Okay, it was 20 euro, let's say, per bowl. The other one that entered the market, it had it to 13 euro. So it's 7 euro less, and it's significant. What they did, the 20 euro to 13 euro, they look at them and they re-engineer their menu and their portions and their pricing as
mm,
per their competitors. They did exactly the same. And because they had better quality of ingredients, they were still purchasing from
mm.
them. So
Yes.
I hope I answered this.
Yes, yes. And I have advice to every business owner in F&B. Don't burn money, because for if you came to the restaurant or coffee shop, the customer have, in my opinion, he have no loyalty. Don't depend on the loyalty of the customer. Once the taste is changed, he will leave you. It's not like SaaS services, technology services, which you need to burn money and to have like a CAC ratio. No, in restaurant, the only thing the behind the customer came to you is their experiences, and in the heart of the experiences is the taste. So don't burn money. Yani just focus on enhance your quality and the customer experiences inside your business. Uh, I have one last question. You want to take it or we get?
Let's go.
It's from Muhammad Al-Johari, and he asked about how he can control the waste.
The waste.
The waste. Yes.
The waste.
Yes, waste. Yes, waste.
Okay, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough
Because
one.
whatever you do, you will have like a 5% wasting.
At the best cases, you're gonna have 5%.
Yeah.
There are some cases that I've seen 10% waste.
Yeah.
And
If you have a control, and if you have proper internal control process, you reach to a
yeah,
5. If you don't have
yeah.
any internal control, that's mean maybe 20 or 15.
So we go back to the question that we have in the beginning about franchise. Why they are able to actually expand their service, the franchises, because they have processes. And in order to control your waste, you have to have processes from the time that the raw material is entering the room, your shop, until the time that it goes to the plate of the customer or the cup, let's say, because coffee, it still has a waste. Because coffee, when you open a coffee shop, you have to clean You have to clean the machine with the coffee, so you're putting coffee in it, so it's still a waste when you're losing a bit of coffee when you're preparing coffees. But if you weight the coffee and you know the exact weight of the coffee, then you're
Yeah.
decreasing your waste. So
If you have a scale, maybe like small scales, that
yes,
then you can avoid.
so it's still about processes and how you're preparing the food or how you're preparing the coffee, how you store that. You have to also see that. And then again, as you said, Ahmed, stock.
Yes, stock. Everything starting from stock, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the demand. Have you seen your demand? If you're not seeing your demand, you're gonna order a wrong quantity, and then the wrong quantity is gonna stay in your warehouse, and it's gonna expire at some point. So still, it's from the processes to the stock also. So I think that's
Yeah.
the short answer.
Yes, and one last thing about control the waste is according to Kuzo framework, Kuzo is talking about control environment, not only process. You have to have control environment inside your restaurant or cafe shop. Everybody must be aware about control, about wasting, and how this affects the profitability of the business. Every single worker inside the kitchen, he must be aware about that. Sorry, we talk about 12 minutes more than our time with you.
It was a
So
pleasure.
so
It
sorry.
was a pleasure. So
Uh,
I could speak
thank
forever.
you. Thank you very much. And we will have Evie in Riyadh soon, inshallah, to attend Leap. So if anybody want to meet Evie, just talk to her directly or talk to us, to our staff in Waslat Al Amal. So happy to have you, Evie, again. And inshallah, we will meet with another webinar about real estate.
Perfect.
Thank
So
you.
it was a pleasure having you all. Thank you, Ahmed, for the great conversation. You were spot
Thank
on
you.
in everything. I mean, your experience is amazing. I mean, you have a huge experience and it
Same to you.
shows. And
Same to
thank
you.
you so much for
You're
hosting
welcome.
me. And I'm really looking forward to coming in Riyadh in a few
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah. We can't wait to have you here. Th-
Thank you.
Thank you, Evie. Thank you. Bye bye. And thank you,
Bye
everybody.
bye.
Meet you in our next webinar, inshallah.